Vector graphics. Like what we said in previous topics, raster is on a pixel-by-pixel basis. There is a limit to the reproduction of these pixels of a smooth line. Vector, on the other hand, is based on points on a Cartesian plane, basically based on math and not dots nor pixels. So even when you continuously zoom in on a vector image, the edge will remain smooth, unlike on raster where you'll see a jagged blurring on the edge where the aliasing occurs. There seems to be more raster editors than vector ones. Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator is arguably the industry standard for vector graphics editor and design programs. That premium comes at a lofty price, though. As of 2020, expect to spend around 1,046 pesos a month for the app on Adobe Creative Cloud. To compare, the Photoshop and Lightroom bundle costs about 498 pesos a month. There's an education rate at about 997 pesos a month, but that already includes all their apps. Corel Draw. Decades ago, Corel Draw was on top before Illustrator came along. The cheapest option for Corel Draw nowadays would set you back $155 or 7,496 pesos. They have other options like a bundle which includes Corel Photo Paint for raster editing, as well as monthly and annual subscriptions for the whole suite. Affinity Designer. Affinity Designer is a relatively new entrant and the most affordable of paid solutions. Designer will only cost you 2,490 pesos. Inkscape. Inkscape is a free and open-source vector graphics editor used to create vector images, primarily in SVG or scalable vector graphics format. For all intents and purposes, Inkscape is a very viable option and can actually do all of what the others can do. Inkscape can render vector shapes and text. These may be filled with solid colors, patterns, gradients, and their borders may be stroked. Using Inkscape. On a personal note, I use Inkscape. I used Adobe Illustrator at some point during my tenure with the publishing and comics industry. To start using Inkscape, grab the installer for your system from inkscape.org. Click the file, install, and open the program. When you open the program, you'll see an interface common to most vector graphics editors. Over on the left you have a selection tool. You also have an edit using nodes tool. We'll get to that later. You can create rectangles, squares, circles, ellipses, stars, polygons, and even 3D boxes and spirals. For more precision, you can draw lines with Bezier or via freehand. More on those later. You can also draw with calligraphic or normal brush strokes. You can add text, edit gradients, and meshes. There's also a color picker, a fill tool, a tweak tool, a spray tool, as well as an eraser and zoom tools. They are currently off screen at the moment. On the right would be some file options as well as advanced tools. You can read up on them if you so wish. On the top menu you'll find the usual file, edit, view, and help menu items. What makes this different would be the layer, object, path, text, filters, and extensions items. Let's see what we can do with it. You can create objects and set the fill color as well as the stroke style, width and color. Quite useful for basic diagramming. You can place, resize and rotate them at will. If you notice, they have basic nodes which allow you to modify the basic look of each object. The Bezier line allows you more control and precision in drawing curved lines. You can actually create custom irregular shapes and fill and stroke them like the other objects. Vector artists who vectorize photos use this tool a lot. One of the most common uses for vector graphics and software would be for logo making. If you were wondering how they made those logos, this is how they made them. The spray is an unusually cool tool with several options. This is one of them. It sprays clones of the selected object onto the canvas. Like raster graphics editors, Inkscape also has restackable layers, but it takes it one step further. Unlike on raster editors where one layer is flat and everything is on that surface, a layer on a vector editor can have multiple objects. Pretty neat, huh? Now onto something different features-wise. You can turn an object into a path. What exactly does that mean? In vector graphics, changing an object into a path gives it the ability to have nodes. These nodes allows you a different way of editing the object. To illustrate, pun intended, the yellow rectangle above is an object, the cyan rectangle below has already been converted to paths. If you select the yellow object rectangle and use the Edit Path by Nodes tool, this is what you can do. If you use the same tool on the cyan path rectangle, it offers more options, and this is what you can do. On object circles, this is what you can do. On path circles, it offers more possibilities. For those of you who like calligraphy, you could actually experiment with the calligraphy pen as well. If you find yourself in a bind, just do a Google search and a lot of results will help you out. Below are some recommended links to save you the trouble. Logos by Nick, Inkscape Beginner Tutorials is probably the definitive starting point. I decided not to make long Inkscape vids for the course because he practically covers everything from basics to a masterclass. Make sure to accomplish the submission challenge after this. See you in the next module.